Wow, it's been a while since I've talked about Kagurabachi. I've missed quite a bit since I last talked about it. We've ended one arc and began another. So I'll split the video in two parts, talking about the end of the Rekuzaichi and the current two chapters. So if you're only here to hear my opinion on the last two chapters, particularly the one that just came out recently, I'll have a timestamp there. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy the video. So let's start by talking about chapters 42 through 45. I'm sure you all know what happened, so I'm gonna highlight the moments that I really loved. So, in chapter 42, Kyoda is losing control of himself, and the storehouse. The fight has Kyoda, Chihiro, and Hyuki arrive at the auction. That's when Kyoda used a Shinichi to summon a field of flowers that hurt anyone surrounding it. With this, it's obvious that Kyoda is close to death, and the storehouse doesn't have long either. And I gotta say, I love the suspense here because Chihiro's reflecting on what to do. Mr. Nizuma worries about his sister. Shiba isn't even sure going back there is worth it, and the entire auction is just in a frenzy. You can really feel the intensity of the situation and the hype when Chihiro said that he's gonna try to save every single person. And that's exactly what we see next. But what surprised me was that we also see Kyoda think about his family, his wife, his children, and just his past life. We even see his wife tell him that if the auction didn't exist, he wouldn't be such a bad person. Those were her last words. Despite that, he continues forth with what he's meant to do, which is to continue the Rekuzaichi. Here we get a good contrast between Kyoda and Hakuri. Kyoda's devotion to the auction has him tell the audience that he'll pay any price for taking the lives of those interfering with the Rekuzaichi. Meanwhile, Hakuri's devotion to bringing it down, as well as never having to see someone he wants to protect die in front of his eyes again, had him use the rest of his strength to protect the newfound allies that he's created. It's then after we see Chihiro and Hyuki save everyone. That's when Kyoda says that Chihiro was right. As those were his final words, his final action has him lay down his blade, and he takes a look at his son one last time. A final exchange between the two. It's then we see Kyoda meet his end, with a panel that I can only describe as a somber end to a man whose devotion to his ideals led him to his downfall. I may not have liked Kyoda, but his death here really did have me feeling bad for Hakuri. Speaking of which, it's Hakuri who confirms his death right after. As the building collapses, Shiba grabs onto everyone, and they try to escape. But as we learn soon after, Chihiro doesn't leave since he tries to get a hold of Enten, but Hyuki prevented him from leaving with it. It's then we see the building completely collapse with Sumo Guy carrying Chihiro and Hyuki walking alongside them. Apparently a deal was struck, but we'll get to that in a moment. Chihiro wonders what Hakuri will do next. He says that Shiba told him not to worry about his family, and it's not like he can return home. But after seeing all the people that he saved, he decides that he wants to stay with Chihiro to keep proving the value that he saw in him, which is just beautiful. Hakuri, to me at least, proved his worth tenfold, but I'm happy that he's going to continue to help Chihiro. He's only going to be an even greater character moving ahead, so I really can't wait to see what he does with Chihiro and the gang as we move forward to future arcs. Afterwards, we see the conversation Chihiro and Hyuki had with each other. Chihiro mentions that he's seen how deadly the enchanted blades can be. He knows that Kamanabe concealed them, but the Hishaku actually wanted them to have it. Once they do get it, they'll make their move. That's where we see Chihiro suggest to join the Kamanabe, which is something I didn't see coming, so I was very interested to learn where this would head. Now this leads up to the new arc, which started with these last two chapters. Let's start off with chapter 45. This one opens up with exactly what Chihiro said would happen. The Hishaku is making their move. That's when Chihiro gets up and we see the entire gang playing games. And I love this moment so much because it really shows that the group has grown. Like, I wasn't expecting Hyuki and Sumogai to be a part of it, but I'm happy they're here. It's such a great panel. After, we see Char tell Chihiro that Mr. Inazuma said thank you for saving his sister, which I thought was sweet. Everyone was saved, so they all did a great job. Now they discuss what to do next. Chihiro wants to take back every enchanted blade along with the sword bearers. He wants Hakuri to help so they can be transported to the storehouse. Now Chihiro wants to learn the sword bearer's location. We learn that, other than the sword master, they're in 4 locations. The Senkusuchi Temple, the Kokugoku Hot Springs, the Koen Taisha Shrine, and the Sushi Subaru. So, with the locations known, they're all in agreement with the plan. So that leaves Chihiro being judged by the Kobanami. Now we're in the current chapter. So, we see Chihiro surrounded by members of the Kobanami. Chihiro tells them that he wants to meet the sword bearers, but, as we already know, they are tightly guarded in separate locations. He also mentions what Hakuri can do, but it seems like he still needs rest. Now, they just need to know if they can trust Chihiro. They ask about Cloud Gouger, but that was destroyed. Not a great start. They ask if he's even Okuhira's son, so because of that, they conduct a blood test, but it's not ready yet. So they really only have his word to go by, which to them is nothing. But that's when we see Chihiro say something incredible. He tells them not to judge him for his identity, but rather his actions. He stopped Sojo, he destroyed the Raikuzaichi, and he got the Shunichi. All very valid points. And even Yuki puts in a good word for him, saying that he only stops evildoers. Which leaves an impact since it's not often that Yuki leaves such great praise for anybody. And that's where we see Hakuri and Sumogai fist bump each other, with Yuki giving like a funny facial expression after. Which isn't something I really expected, but it was a really good moment for all of them. But afterwards, it gets serious, with one of the members saying that it'd be easier to just kill Chihiro and entrust Enten to one of the members. And Azami and Hakuri gets ready to retaliate. And right when they were ready to fight, a quick report was made. The Hishaku made their move, and destroyed one of the locations. With time being of the essence, Chihiro makes a really great point. The Hishaku has made their move, and they need firepower. Killing him and having somebody else master Enten would take too long. Right now, he's their best bet, and the head of the organization agrees. Now they know that the sword bearer that was there is alive, so the mission now is to find him, and to keep him alive. That's how this chapter ends, and it's in an exciting way. For now, Chihiro works with the Kobanami, so I'm really excited to see how long it'll last, and how this will end. Overall, these have been some incredibly well-written chapters, with the narrative given in each of them being some of the best I've read in a long time in like any series. Like, Kagurabachi really is something special, and it's such a delight to have to read this every week. I do apologize for being so slow on having to update videos on the chapters. I've just been really busy as of late. I keep saying I'm going to try, and I have been trying to, keep up with the chapters, but you're going to have to believe me when I say that it's not been easy. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it regularly with like a new chapter every week, or a new video on a chapter every week, but I'll do my best, I promise. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for the chapter for now. I know I skipped over some details, but I did it for the sake of time. These are like 5 chapters I'm covering after all. So if there's anything you want to bring up that I wasn't able to address, then by all means, bring it up in the comments and I'll do my best to discuss it with you. Now, that'll do it for me. Here's looking forward to the next chapter, as well as continuing to see how this arc continues. But yeah, that'll do it for me for now. Peace out, and take care, everyone.